Tonight, I want to share something special with you, a secret that Buddhist monks discovered long ago to help calm their minds and sleep peacefully. I'm going to tell you beautiful Zen stories that have helped countless people quiet their busy thoughts and find the kind of deep, restful sleep they've been searching for. Each story holds a simple key that can help your mind naturally release stress and worry. What makes these stories special is that they work for anyone. It doesn't matter if you've never meditated before, or if your thoughts keep spinning, or if you've tried other things that didn't help. The Buddha once said something beautiful. Peace comes from within. Don't look for it outside yourself. Over the next few hours, you'll understand what he meant and how this can change your life. As we explore stories about flowing rivers, wise teachers, and moments of unexpected insight, something wonderful will start to happen. You'll feel your body beginning to relax. Your mind will gradually slow down. And without even trying, you'll find yourself drifting into a state of complete calm. Before you get settled, please like this video and subscribe. I'd love to know where you're listening from and what time it is. Just drop a comment and let me know. It's always wonderful to see people from around the world joining us for this peaceful journey. Now turn down your lights, maybe switch off that fan or any background noise, and let's start this gentle journey together into the wisdom of letting go. Story 1. The Gentle River. Close your eyes and let your breathing become soft and natural. Imagine you are walking down a peaceful path covered in soft grass. Your bare feet feel the cool earth beneath them. The air smells sweet, like flowers after a gentle rain. You can hear something peaceful ahead. The soft, musical sound of water flowing. You are following a little girl named Maya. She has kind brown eyes and hair that bounces when she walks. Maya is 8 years old, and she loves to explore the world around her. But today, Maya carries something heavy in her heart. The same kind of heaviness that you might carry sometimes. Maya's grandmother had been trying to teach her about something called letting go of suffering. But Maya didn't understand. How do you let go of hurt feelings? How do you let go of worry? Maya's mind was full of thoughts that went around and around, like a hamster running on a wheel. Just yesterday, her best friend Sarah had said something mean to her at school. Maya kept thinking about it over and over. Why did Sarah say that? Maybe Sarah doesn't like me anymore. Maybe I'm not a good friend. These thoughts made Maya's chest feel tight and her stomach feel upset. The path leads Maya to the most beautiful river she has ever seen. The water sparkles like tiny stars in the warm sunlight. It flows gently, making a soft whooshing sound that feels like nature's own lullaby. Maya sits down on the smooth, sun-warmed rocks at the river's edge and watches the water dance by. I wish I could stop thinking about what Sarah said, Maya whispers to herself. I wish these hurt feelings would just go away. She notices how pretty the water looks, all clear and sparkling. Maya cups her hands and scoops up some of the river water. It feels wonderfully cool and refreshing in her palms. Maybe if I can keep this beautiful water, I can keep beautiful feelings too, Maya thinks. She holds her hands very tightly together, trying not to let even one drop escape. But something strange happens. The harder she squeezes her hands together, the faster the water slips through her fingers. Maya tries again, this time making her hands into the tightest cup she can. She holds her breath and keeps her hands perfectly still. But still, the water slowly drips away, drop by drop, until her hands are completely empty. Why won't the water stay? Maya asks out loud, feeling frustrated. I just want to keep the good things and get rid of the bad things. Just then, she hears the gentlest voice she has ever heard, like wind whispering through leaves. Perhaps, little one, the water knows something we have forgotten. Maya turns around and sees the most peaceful face she has ever seen. It belongs to an ancient turtle with wise, twinkling eyes that seem to hold all the kindness in the world. The turtle's shell is covered in soft green moss, and tiny white flowers grow between the moss like nature's own decoration. The turtle moves very slowly and speaks very softly. "Hello, dear child," says the turtle. "I am called River, and I have lived beside this water for 100 years. In all that time, I have watched many people try to catch happiness in their hands and push sadness away. But I want to keep the good feelings and get rid of the bad ones," Maya explains, her voice a little shaky. "When Sarah said that mean thing to me, it made me feel so sad. I keep thinking about it, and it won't go away. I just want the hurt to stop." River the turtle nods slowly, his ancient eyes full of understanding. "Ah, I see. You are holding on to your pain very tightly, just like you tried to hold on to the water. But let me show you something that the Buddha discovered long, long ago." River moves slowly to the water's edge. With one of his old flippers, he gently touches the flowing stream. "Watch carefully what happens when I don't try to catch the water, and I don't try to push it away either." Maya watches in wonder as the turtle simply lets the water flow over his flipper, around his flipper, and past his flipper. Some water droplets are crystal clear. Some carry tiny leaves. Some are deeper, and some are shallow. But River doesn't try to keep the pretty drops or push away the ones with leaves. He just lets them all flow naturally. "See how peaceful this is?" River asks softly. "The water carries many things. Leaves, tiny fish, bubbles, sand. Some are pretty, some are not so pretty. But the water doesn't try to keep some things and reject others. It simply flows, carrying everything along." Maya tries putting her hand in the water the way River did. Instead of grabbing or pushing, she lets the water flow over her palm and between her fingers. It feels wonderful, cool and alive, and somehow free. "Your thoughts and feelings are just like this water," River continues in his gentle voice. "Right now, you are trying to hold on to your hurt feelings about Sarah. You keep thinking about what she said, over and over, like trying to catch the water in your hands." Maya realizes this is exactly what she's been doing. Every time the memory of Sarah's words came into her mind, she grabbed onto it and thought about it some more. "But what if I let the hurt feelings flow away?" Maya asks. "Won't that mean I don't care about my friendship with Sarah?" River's eyes twinkle with ancient wisdom. "Let me tell you what the Buddha taught about this. He said that holding on to pain is like grasping a hot coal. You are the one who gets burned. When you let painful feelings flow through you like this water, you are not saying they don't matter. You are simply choosing not to burn yourself by holding on to them." Maya sits quietly, watching the river flow. She thinks about her hurt feelings about Sarah. Instead of grabbing onto the thoughts and turning them over and over in her mind, she imagines them floating down the river like leaves on the water. "But how do I actually do this?" Maya asks. River smiles his ancient, peaceful smile. "Close your eyes and think about what Sarah said. Let the feeling come up in your chest, but don't grab onto it. Don't push it away either. Just notice it, like noticing a leaf floating by in the river." Maya closes her eyes and lets herself remember Sarah's mean words. She feels the familiar ache in her chest. But this time, instead of thinking, "Why did she say that? What's wrong with me?" Maya just notices the feeling. She imagines it like a dark leaf floating down the gentle river of her mind. "The feeling is there," Maya says softly, "but it's moving. It's not stuck anymore." "Yes," River whispers. "This is what we call letting go. You are not pretending the hurt doesn't exist. You are simply allowing it to flow through you naturally, the way water flows through the riverbed." Maya practices this new way of being with her feelings. When the hurt about Sarah comes up, she doesn't grab it or fight it. She just lets it be there and lets it flow. When worry about tomorrow comes up, she treats it the same way. When happy memories arise, she doesn't try to hold on to them forever either. She just enjoys them as they pass through. "This feels so much better," Maya says with wonder. "My chest doesn't feel tight anymore." River nods knowingly. The Buddha taught that our suffering doesn't come from having painful feelings. It comes from grasping onto them. When we learn to let our feelings flow like this river, we find peace. Maya watches the river for a long, peaceful time. She realizes that the water is always changing, always moving, but the river itself remains. Sometimes the water runs fast, sometimes slow. Sometimes it carries beautiful things, sometimes debris. But the river doesn't resist any of it. It simply flows. "I think I understand now," Maya says. "My feelings will always come and go, like the water in this river. Happy feelings, sad feelings, worried feelings, excited feelings. They all flow through me. I don't have to hold on to them or push them away. I can just let them flow." "You are very wise, little Maya," River says warmly. "And remember, when you let your feelings flow this way, you make room for new things. When you're not holding tightly to yesterday's pain, your hands are free to receive today's gifts." Maya suddenly realizes something beautiful. By letting go of her tight grip on the hurt feelings about Sarah, she has space in her heart to remember all the good times they've shared, and even to feel compassion for Sarah, who might have been having a hard day herself. Maya gives River a gentle hug on his mossy shell. "Thank you for teaching me about the flowing river inside my heart." As Maya walks back down the soft path, she practices her new understanding. When thoughts about Sarah come up, she lets them flow like water. When worries about school appear, she lets them pass through like leaves on the river. And something magical happens. As she stops fighting with her thoughts and feelings, they naturally begin to settle, like muddy water becoming clear when you stop stirring it. The sun is setting now, painting the sky in soft colors of lavender and gold. Maya walks slowly home, feeling lighter with each step. She knows that tomorrow and every day after, she can remember River's wisdom whenever her mind becomes turbulent. The Buddha was right. Peace really does come from within, not by pushing away difficult feelings, but by learning to let them flow naturally, like water in a gentle river. As Maya falls asleep that night, she imagines all her thoughts and feelings flowing peacefully through her mind like the gentle river. The worried thoughts about Sarah flow by. The excitement about tomorrow's art class flows by. The sadness about her grandmother being sick flows by. The happiness about her new book flows by. All of it flows gently, naturally, and Maya feels completely at peace. And now, as you rest here listening to this story, you can discover the same peace Maya found. Feel your own thoughts and feelings beginning to flow like that gentle river. Don't grab onto the worries about tomorrow. Don't push away the sadness or stress from today. Just let everything flow naturally through the peaceful river of your mind. Notice how your breathing becomes softer, like the gentle sound of water flowing. Feel your body relaxing, like Maya sitting peacefully by the riverbank. Let every tension, every worry, every painful thought flow away downstream, carried by the endless, compassionate river of letting go. The river flows on through the night, carrying away all that no longer serves you, leaving only peace in its wake. Story 2. The Butterfly Garden, learning that beauty comes and goes. As the gentle sound of the flowing river fades into the distance behind Maya, she continues walking along the peaceful path. Her heart feels lighter now, and she carries River's wisdom with her like a warm glow in her chest. The evening air is soft and sweet, filled with the scent of jasmine and honeysuckle. Just ahead, Maya notices the path splitting into two directions. To the left, the path continues through a quiet forest. To the right, there's a smaller path that seems to shimmer with an unusual golden light. Curious as always, Maya decides to follow the glowing path. As she walks, she hears the gentle sound of wind chimes dancing in the breeze, and something else, the soft flutter of wings. The path leads to an ornate wooden gate covered in climbing roses. Above the gate, painted in beautiful flowing letters, are the words, "The Garden of Moments." Maya pushes open the gate and gasps in wonder. Before her lies the most magical garden she has ever seen. Thousands of butterflies fill the air like living rainbows, blue ones that shimmer like sapphires, yellow ones bright as sunshine, orange ones that glow like tiny flames, and purple ones that sparkle like amethysts. "Oh my," Maya whispers, her eyes wide with amazement. In the center of the garden sits a boy about Maya's age. He has sandy brown hair and is holding a large butterfly net, his face scrunched up in concentration. His name is Sam, and he's been trying to catch butterflies for what feels like hours. "Almost got it," Sam mutters to himself, as a magnificent golden butterfly with wings like stained glass flutters just out of reach. He swings his net, but the butterfly dances away effortlessly. Maya walks over to Sam, still marveling at all the butterflies swirling around them like a living kaleidoscope. "Hi," Maya says softly, not wanting to startle the butterflies. "This place is incredible. What are you doing?" Sam looks up, a bit frustrated. "I'm trying to catch the most beautiful butterfly to keep forever. See that golden one? It's the prettiest thing I've ever seen, and I want it to be mine. But every time I get close, it flies away." Maya watches as Sam chases after the golden butterfly again. The butterfly seems to be playing with him, coming tantalizingly close before dancing just out of reach. Sam's face grows red with effort and frustration. "I've been here for 3 hours," Sam pants, taking a break from chasing. "I almost had it twice, but it keeps escaping. I just want to keep it safe in a jar so I can look at it whenever I want." Maya thinks about what River the turtle taught her about holding onto things too tightly. She watches the golden butterfly as it lands gracefully on a nearby lavender bush, its wings slowly opening and closing like it's breathing. "It's beautiful right now," Maya observes. "Look how its wings catch the sunlight." "But I want to keep it beautiful like this forever," Sam explains. "What if it flies away and I never see it again? What if something happens to it?" Just then, they hear a warm, gentle laugh. Both children turn to see a woman with kind eyes and silver hair that seems to catch the light like spider silk. She wears a flowing dress the color of morning sky, and butterflies keep landing on her shoulders as if she's an old friend. "Hello, dear ones," the woman says, her voice like honey and wind chimes. "I am Luna, the keeper of this garden. I've been watching you chase my butterflies, young Sam." Sam looks a bit embarrassed. "I just want to keep the golden one. It's so beautiful, and I'm afraid it will disappear." Luna's eyes twinkle with understanding. "Ah, I see. You want to capture beauty so it can never leave you. This is something many people try to do. May I show you something wonderful?" Luna extends her hand, palm up, and stands perfectly still. Within moments, the golden butterfly that Sam had been chasing lands gently on her palm. Its wings open and close slowly, and Maya and Sam can see every delicate detail. The intricate patterns, the way the light dances through the transparent parts of its wings, the tiny antennae that twitch with curiosity. "How did you do that?" Sam asks in amazement. Maya thinks about this. She realizes she had been doing the same thing as Sam, but with feelings instead of butterflies. After learning something wonderful, she wanted to hold on to that happy feeling forever. When she felt proud of a good grade, she wanted to stay proud forever. When she felt excited about a friend's visit, she wanted to keep that excitement from fading. "I think I do this too," Maya admits. "When I feel really happy, I try to make the feeling stay forever. And when it starts to fade, I get sad." Luna reaches out and gently touches Maya's hand. "You're very wise to notice this, Maya. Yes, we do this with feelings too. We try to make happy feelings last forever and push sad feelings away quickly. But feelings, like butterflies, are meant to come and go naturally." Sam is quiet for a moment, watching the golden butterfly he had been chasing. It's now resting peacefully on a white rose, its wings gently moving in the warm breeze. "So if I stop trying to catch it, I can actually enjoy it more?" Sam The girl turns her head toward them with a gentle smile. "Oh, hello. I'm Emma. I was just watching the night clouds dance across the stars." Maya and Sam look up and see what Emma means. Even though it's nighttime, wisps of silvery clouds drift slowly across the star-filled sky, sometimes covering the moon for a moment before moving on. "That sounds peaceful," Sam says. "Can we join you?" "Of course," Emma says, patting the soft grass beside her. There's plenty of room, and the clouds are especially beautiful tonight. Maya and Sam lie down on either side of Emma, all three children now gazing up at the vast sky above. The grass feels soft and warm beneath them, and the gentle breeze carries the sweet scent of jasmine. "I come here whenever my thoughts get too busy," Emma explains quietly. "My mind sometimes feels like it's spinning like a hamster wheel, with the same worries going around and around. But up here, watching the clouds, something magical happens." Maya turns to look at Emma with interest. "What kind of worries?" Emma sighs softly. "Oh, all kinds. Today I kept thinking about the presentation I have to give at school next week. I kept imagining all the ways it could go wrong. What if I forget what to say? What if the other kids laugh at me? What if the teacher thinks my project isn't good enough?" The same worried thoughts kept coming back over and over. Sam nods understandingly. "I do that too. Sometimes I worry about the same thing for hours." "Me three," Maya agrees. "Even after I learned about letting thoughts flow like a river, sometimes they still get stuck and keep repeating." Emma sits up and points to a small, dark cloud drifting across the face of the moon. "Watch that cloud," she says. "See how it's covering the moon right now, making everything dimmer?" The three children watch as the dark cloud slowly moves across the bright moon, casting a shadow over the clearing. "Now watch what happens if we just wait," Emma says patiently. They continue watching, and gradually the cloud drifts past the moon. The bright moonlight floods the clearing again, making the grass sparkle with tiny droplets of dew. "The moon was always there," Emma says with a smile. "The cloud didn't make the moon go away. It just covered it for a little while." Maya sits up too, beginning to understand. "Are you saying our thoughts are like clouds?" "Exactly," Emma says, her eyes lighting up. "I learned this from my grandfather. He's a meditation teacher, and he taught me something wonderful about thoughts that changed my whole life." As if summoned by Emma's words, they hear a gentle voice from the edge of the clearing. "Did someone mention meditation?" All three children turn to see a kind-looking older man with a gray beard and twinkling eyes walking toward them. He moves slowly and peacefully, carrying a small cushion under his arm. He wears simple, comfortable clothes, and there's something about him that makes all three children feel immediately calm and safe. "Grandfather," Emma exclaims, jumping up to give him a hug. "I was just telling Maya and Sam about the cloud wisdom you taught me." "Ah, wonderful," Emma's grandfather says warmly. "I'm called Mountain by my friends because I've spent so many years sitting quietly like a mountain, watching the sky. May I join you young cloud watchers?" "Please do," Maya and Sam say together. Mountain settles his cushion on the ground and sits cross-legged with the ease of someone who has done this thousands of times. The children arrange themselves in a circle around him. "Emma was telling us that thoughts are like clouds," Maya explained. explains excitedly. You are not your thoughts, just like the sky is not the clouds. You are the awareness that watches the thoughts come and go. Maya practices this too, thinking about her lingering worry about her friendship with Sarah. There's a worried thought about Sarah drifting through my mind, she says out loud. Wow, that does feel different. The worry is there, but it's not who I am. Mountain nods with deep satisfaction. You children are learning one of the most important truths the Buddha ever taught. He said that most of our suffering comes from identifying with our thoughts, from thinking we are our thoughts, instead of recognizing that we are the awareness watching our thoughts. A gentle breeze stirs the grass around them, and they all lie quietly for a moment, watching the clouds drift slowly across the star-filled sky. Some clouds are moving fast, some slow. Some are large, some small. Some are bright, some dark. But the sky remains unchanged, vast and peaceful. There's one more important thing about clouds, Mountain says softly. Even the stormiest clouds bring rain that helps flowers grow. In the same way, even our most difficult thoughts can teach us something valuable if we watch them with kindness instead of fighting them. Emma points to a cluster of darker clouds on the horizon, like when I have sad thoughts about missing my grandmother who died. I used to try to push those thoughts away, but when I let them drift through my sky mind, sometimes they bring beautiful memories of her too. That's very wise, Emma, Mountain says gently. Sadness clouds and happy clouds are both part of the natural weather of the mind. We don't have to chase the happy clouds or fight the sad ones. We can simply be the spacious sky that holds them all with compassion. Maya thinks about this new understanding. So when I have angry thoughts, or worried thoughts, or excited thoughts, I don't have to do anything with them. I can just watch them like clouds. Just watch them with kindness, Mountain confirms. The Buddha taught something called loving awareness, watching our thoughts and feelings the way a loving parent watches their child play, with attention but without judgment. Sam sits up and looks around at his new friends. This is amazing. I feel like I've learned the secret to having a peaceful mind. Mountain chuckles softly. You've learned the beginning of the secret, Sam. Like any skill, it takes practice. Some days you'll remember to be the sky, and some days you'll get caught up in the clouds. Both are perfectly normal. Emma yawns softly. When I first started practicing this, I would forget all the time, but Grandfather taught me a special way to remember. What's that? Maya asks, feeling curious. Mountain reaches into his pocket and pulls out 3 small, smooth stones that seem to shimmer slightly in the moonlight. These are cloud stones, he explains. Whenever you hold one and feel its smooth surface, let it remind you to look up at your inner sky and notice what thoughts are drifting through. He hands one to each child. Maya holds hers and immediately feels calmer, as if the stone itself carries some of the peaceful energy of the night sky. And remember, Mountain adds softly, you don't have to wait for the worried clouds to disappear before you can feel peace. The sky is always peaceful, even when it's full of storms. Your inner awareness is always calm and clear, even when difficult thoughts are passing through. Emma stands up and stretches, looking completely relaxed and peaceful. I should probably head home soon, but thank you for sharing cloud watching with me. It's so much better with friends. Sam and Maya stand up too, both feeling changed by their experience on the hilltop. Thank you, Mountain, Maya says, giving the wise old man a gentle hug. I feel like I understand something important about my mind now. And thank you, Emma, Sam adds. I can't wait to try being the sky instead of the clouds when I worry about my presentation. Mountain smiles warmly at all three children. Remember, dear ones, your thoughts are not your enemies. They are simply clouds passing through the vast, peaceful sky of your awareness. Watch them with curiosity and kindness, and they will teach you much about the nature of your own beautiful mind. As Emma waves goodbye and heads down a different path toward her home, Maya and Sam continue walking together along the moonlit path. Both carry their cloud stones and their butterfly stones, feeling like they now have magical tools to help them find peace whenever their minds become busy or troubled. On protecting yourself from old hurts, you miss chances for new friendships. Brother Chen's eyes sparkle with approval. Your friends are very wise, Alex. They have learned important lessons about letting go. But I want to show you something special about your backpack that you might not have noticed. Alex looks puzzled. What do you mean? Brother Chen stands up and walks over to Alex's backpack. May I? He asks, gesturing toward the pack. Alex nods, and Brother Chen carefully lifts the heavy backpack. But something amazing happens. In Brother Chen's hands, the backpack doesn't look heavy at all. In fact, it seems to glow with a soft, golden light. This is no ordinary backpack, Alex, Brother Chen explains. This is a magic backpack. It has a very special power. It can transform the rocks of hurt into something completely different. What do you mean? Alex asks, his eyes wide with wonder. Brother Chen opens the backpack and pulls out the large gray rock that represents Alex's pain about his father leaving. But as he holds it up to the firelight, the rock begins to change. Its gray surface becomes smooth and polished, and words appear carved into its surface. What does it say? Maya asks, leaning closer. Brother Chen reads the words aloud. From this pain, I learned compassion for other children whose parents leave. I learned that I am strong enough to survive difficult times. I learned the value of the people who choose to stay in my life. Alex gasps. The rock changed. The Buddha taught that every painful experience has the potential to become wisdom, Alex. Brother Chen explains. When we hold on to pain as raw anger or hurt, it weighs us down like heavy rocks. But when we transform that pain into wisdom and compassion, it becomes light as a feather. Brother Chen reaches into the backpack and pulls out the jagged black rock representing Alex's friend moving away. As he holds it, this rock also transforms, becoming smooth and luminous. Words appear. From this pain, I learned how precious friendship is. I learned to tell people I care about them before it's too late. I learned that love doesn't disappear just because someone moves far away. Alex stares in amazement as Brother Chen continues pulling out rocks and watching them transform. The red rock of math failure becomes, from this pain, I learned that making mistakes is how we learn. I learned to ask for help when I need it. I learned that my worth isn't measured by perfect grades. The spiky rock from being laughed at transforms to, from this pain, I learned compassion for others who are different. I learned that other people's opinions don't define who I am. I learned to be kinder to those who feel left out. But how do I make my rocks transform like that? Alex asks, his voice full of hope. Brother Chen sits back down and sets the transformed rocks gently on the rug. Each one now glows with soft, warm light instead of looking heavy and dark. The transformation happens through what the Buddha called loving kindness meditation. Brother Chen explains. Instead of holding on to the story of how someone hurt you, you ask yourself, what did this experience teach me? How did it make me stronger, or wiser, or more compassionate? Maya picks up one of the transformed rocks and is amazed at how light it feels, like holding a piece of warm sunlight. So instead of my dad left and I can't trust anyone, Alex says slowly, I could think my dad left and I learned how strong I am and how much I value the people who choose to stay. Exactly, Alex, Brother Chen says with a warm smile. And notice something important. You're not pretending your dad didn't leave. You're not saying it didn't hurt. You're transforming the pain into wisdom. Sam holds up another transformed rock. It's like what we learned about clouds. You're not trying to get rid of the painful memory. You're changing your relationship to it. Alex takes the gray rock, his father's rock, and holds it in his hands. He closes his eyes and thinks about what Brother Chen said. "My dad left, and it hurt so much," he says quietly. "But it also taught me how much my mom loves me, because she worked twice as hard to take care of me. And it taught me that I can be the kind of person who stays when life gets difficult." As Alex speaks these words with genuine feeling, the rock in his hands begins to glow and transform, becoming smooth and warm. "I can't believe it," Alex whispers, staring at the transformed rock. "It feels completely different now. Instead of making me angry, it makes me feel grateful for what I learned." Brother Chen nods approvingly. "This is the magic of the Buddha's teaching, Alex. Pain transformed into wisdom becomes a gift instead of a burden." Alex starts picking up more rocks from his backpack, one by one, asking himself what each painful experience had taught him. Some transform easily, their lessons clear and bright. Others take more time and thought, but gradually, each heavy stone becomes a glowing gem of wisdom. "What about this one?" Alex asks, holding up a small, sharp rock. "This is from when I was 7 and got lost in the grocery store. I was so scared." Alex thinks quietly for a moment, then says, "That experience taught me to pay attention to where I am and to ask for help when I need it. It also taught me how good it feels when someone helps you when you're scared." The rock transforms into a small, warm stone that pulses with gentle light. Maya watches in amazement as Alex's entire backpack of heavy, painful rocks becomes a collection of glowing wisdom stones. "Alex, look how different you look now," she says. Alex realizes that Maya is right. His shoulders are no longer hunched over. His eyes are brighter. He looks lighter in every way. "But what do I do with all these wisdom stones?" Alex asks. "Do I still carry them around?" Brother Chen smiles mysteriously. "That's the most beautiful part of the magic, Alex. Watch what happens when you put the transformed stones back in your backpack." Alex carefully places all his glowing stones back into the backpack. But something incredible happens. As soon as the last stone goes in, the backpack becomes lighter than air. It actually starts to float gently above the ground, glowing with soft golden light. "A backpack full of wisdom weighs nothing at all," Brother Chen explains. "In fact, it lifts you up instead of weighing you down." The Buddha taught that when we transform our pain into wisdom, we become lighter and freer, not heavier. Alex reaches for the floating backpack and finds he can easily lift it with one finger. "This is incredible. I feel like I could run up a mountain now instead of barely being able to walk." Sam claps his hands together excitedly. So the rocks were never the problem. It was what the rocks represented. When they represented pain, they were heavy. When they represent wisdom, they're lighter than feathers. "Very wise, Sam," Brother Chen says. "And Alex, there's one more gift your transformed backpack has for you." "What's that?" Alex asks, his eyes bright with curiosity. Brother Chen points to the glowing backpack. "Now, when you meet other people who are carrying heavy rocks of pain, you'll be able to help them transform their stones too. Your wisdom can light the way for others who are struggling with heavy burdens." Alex thinks about his friend Jake at school, who's been carrying anger about his parents' divorce. I could help Jake learn about transforming his pain into wisdom? "Of course," Brother Chen says gently. "But remember, you can only transform your own rocks. You can't force anyone else to let go of their pain. but by living as an example of someone who has learned to carry wisdom instead of resentment, you inspire others to consider doing the same. Maya stands up and helps Alex put on his magical weightless backpack. "How does it feel?" she asks. Alex takes a few steps and breaks into a huge smile. "I feel like I could fly. I had no idea I was carrying so much unnecessary weight." Brother Chen begins clearing away the teacups as the fire settles into glowing embers. "Remember, Alex, transforming pain into wisdom is not something you do just once. Each time you face a new hurt or disappointment, you have a choice. You can add another heavy rock to your pack, or you can immediately begin asking yourself, what is this experience here to teach me?" Sam yawns slightly and realizes how late it has become. "Brother Chen, thank you for teaching us about the magic backpack. I think we should probably continue our journey now." "Of course, young travelers," Brother Chen says warmly. "But before you go, let me give each of you a special stone." He reaches into a small pouch and pulls out 3 smooth, warm stones that seem to hold tiny stars inside them. "These are transformation stones," he explains, giving one to each child. "Whenever you find yourself picking up a new rock of pain or anger, hold your transformation stone and ask yourself, how can this experience make me wiser and more compassionate? The stone will remind you that you always have a choice in how you carry life's difficulties." Alex, Maya, and Sam each pocket their transformation stones, feeling grateful for this precious gift. As they prepare to leave the warm inn, Alex turns back to Brother Chen. "What if I forget? What if I start collecting heavy rocks again?" Brother Chen's eyes twinkle with gentle humor. "Then your shoulders will start to hurt, and your backpack will get heavy again, and you'll remember that you have a choice. The Buddha taught that awareness is the key to freedom, Alex. When you notice you're suffering more than necessary, you can always choose to transform pain into wisdom." Alex gives Brother Chen a heartfelt hug. "Thank you for showing me that I don't have to carry pain forever. I feel so much lighter and freer." The 3 children step out into the cool night air, Alex practically bouncing with his weightless backpack, Maya and Sam walking beside him with their butterfly stones, cloud stones, and now transformation stones safe in their pockets. "I can't believe how different I feel," Alex marvels as they walk through the quiet village streets. "A few hours ago, I could barely carry my backpack. Now I feel like I could run a marathon." Maya smiles, remembering her own transformation by the river. "It's amazing how much lighter life feels when we learn to let go of what we don't need to carry." Sam nods, thinking about the butterflies and clouds. "And we're not throwing away our experiences, we're just changing how we hold them." As they reach the edge of the village, they see a new path leading toward what looks like a peaceful lake surrounded by tall reeds and weeping willows. The surface of the water reflects the stars like a perfect mirror, and they can hear the gentle sounds of night birds and rustling leaves. Alex adjusts his magical weightless backpack and grins at his new friends. "I wonder what other wisdom we'll discover tonight. I feel like I could walk forever now that I'm not carrying all those heavy rocks." The 3 children continue along the moonlit path, each carrying hard-won wisdom about letting go. Maya with her understanding of flowing like water, Sam with his knowledge of appreciating beauty without grasping, and Alex with his newfound ability to transform pain into wisdom. Behind them, the warm light of the Traveler's Rest Inn glows peacefully in the night, and Brother Chen sits quietly by the dying fire, smiling as he watches 3 young souls walk lighter and freer toward their next adventure in learning to let go of what no longer serves them. Story 5. The peaceful pond, learning to find stillness within. The path winds gently through tall grass that whispers softly in the night breeze, leading Maya, Sam, and Alex toward the peaceful lake they glimpsed from the village. As they walk, Alex practically bounces with each step, still marveling at how light his transformed backpack feels. "I can't get over it," Alex says happily. "I feel like I could walk to the moon and back." Maya smiles, remembering how heavy her own heart had felt just hours ago when she was holding on to her hurt feelings about Sarah. It's amazing how much energy we have when we're not using it all to carry things that weigh us down. The grass gradually gives way to soft sand, and soon they find themselves standing at the edge of the most beautiful lake they've ever seen. The water stretches out before them like a mirror made of liquid starlight, perfectly reflecting the moon and the scattered clouds above. Tall cattails and graceful weeping willows frame the shoreline, and the gentle sound of water lapping against smooth stones creates nature's own lullaby. But what catches their attention most is a small figure sitting perfectly still on a fallen log near the water's edge. It's a girl about their age with long, straight black hair that catches the moonlight. She sits with her back very straight but relaxed, her hands resting gently on her knees and her eyes closed. She's so still that she almost seems to be part of the peaceful landscape itself. The three friends approach quietly, not wanting to disturb what looks like a moment of deep peace. But as they get closer, the girl opens her eyes and turns toward them with a serene smile. "Hello," she says in a voice as calm as still water. "I'm Lily. I was just practicing something my grandmother taught me about finding the quiet place inside." "Hi, Lily," Maya says softly. "I'm Maya, and these are my friends Sam and Alex. We didn't want to interrupt you." Lily gestures to the log beside her. "Please, sit with me. There's something beautiful I'd like to show you about this pond." The four children settle on the smooth log, their feet dangling just above the water's surface. Up close, the pond is even more magical. The water is so clear and still that it creates a perfect reflection of everything above it. The moon, the stars, the wispy clouds, even their own faces looking back at them. "Watch this," Lily says quietly. She picks up a small pebble from the shore and gently tosses it into the center of the pond. Immediately, circles of ripples spread outward from where the pebble disappeared. The perfect reflection of the moon breaks apart into dancing fragments of light, and the mirrored images of the stars scatter into shimmering pieces. "What happened to the reflection?" Sam asks. "It's still there," Lily explains patiently, "but we can't see it clearly because the water is disturbed. Watch what happens when we wait." The four children sit quietly and watch as the ripples gradually grow smaller and smaller. Slowly, the water returns to perfect stillness, and as it does, the clear reflection of the moon and stars reappears, as beautiful and complete as before. "It's like magic," Alex whispers in wonder. Lily nods, her eyes sparkling with gentle wisdom. "My grandmother taught me that our minds are exactly like this pond. When our minds are calm and still, we can see everything clearly. But when we throw in the pebbles of worry and fear and anger, everything becomes blurry and confused." Maya leans forward with interest. "So, the pebble is like a worried thought?" "Exactly," Lily says. "Every time we have a worried thought or an angry thought or a sad thought, it's like throwing a pebble into the quiet pond of our mind. The clearer our inner reflection becomes, the better we can see what's really true." Just then they hear a gentle voice behind them. "Lily, dear, are you sharing the pond wisdom with new friends?" They turn to see an elderly woman approaching through the reeds. She moves with quiet grace, carrying a small lantern that casts a warm golden glow. Her silver hair is braided with tiny flowers, and her eyes hold the same peaceful depth as Lily's. "Grandmother," Lily says warmly, "these are Maya, Sam, and Alex. I was just showing them how the pond reflects perfectly when it's still." Lily's grandmother, who introduces herself as Silver Moon, settles gracefully on a cushion she places on the soft sand. Ah, the pond meditation. This is one of the most important teachings the Buddha shared about finding inner peace. Alex shifts his weightless backpack and looks curiously at Silver Moon. "We've been learning all night about letting go of different kinds of suffering. How does the pond teaching help with that?" Silver Moon smiles and picks up another small pebble. "Let me show you, Alex. What's something that's been worrying you lately, even after you transformed your rocks of pain into wisdom?" Alex thinks for a moment. "Well, even though I feel so much lighter now, I'm still a little worried about starting at my new school next week. I keep wondering if the other kids will like me." "Perfect," Silver Moon says gently. "Now imagine this pond is your mind, and this pebble represents that worried thought about the new school." She tosses the pebble into the pond, and once again, ripples spread across the surface, breaking up the peaceful reflection into fragments. "When you have that worried thought," Silver Moon explains, "what happens to your inner peace?" Alex watches the disturbed water and understands immediately. "It gets all choppy and confused, just like the pond. I can't think clearly when I'm worrying." "And what happens when you keep thinking the same worried thought over and over?" Silver Moon asks. To demonstrate, she tosses several more pebbles into the pond in quick succession. The water becomes even more disturbed, with ripples crossing and overlapping until the reflection is completely broken apart. "Oh," Sam exclaims, "it gets even more confused. When I worry about the same thing over and over, it's like throwing more and more pebbles into my mind pond." Silver Moon nods approvingly. "Very wise, Sam. The Buddha discovered that most of our mental suffering comes not from our circumstances, but from the way we keep disturbing our inner peace with repetitive thoughts." Maya watches the choppy water gradually beginning to settle. "But how do we stop throwing pebbles? Sometimes worried thoughts just pop up automatically." "Ah," Silver Moon says with a twinkle in her eye, "that's the beautiful part of this teaching. You don't have to stop the thoughts from coming. Watch what happens to the pond now." They all observe as the ripples slowly fade and the water returns to its natural stillness. The moon's reflection reappears, whole and bright. "The pond doesn't try to stop us from throwing pebbles," Lily explains. "It just naturally returns to stillness when we stop adding new disturbances." Silver Moon reaches into a small pouch and pulls out a handful of smooth, flat stones. "These are worry stones," she explains. "Each one represents a different type of thought that can disturb our inner pond. But I want to show you something the Buddha taught about working with disturbing thoughts." She holds up one stone. This stone represents worry about the future, like Alex's concern about his new school. She places it gently on the log without throwing it into the water. She holds up another stone. This one represents anger about the past, like feeling upset about something someone did to hurt us. This stone also stays on the log. "And this one," she continues, holding up a third stone, "represents judgmental thoughts about ourselves, like thinking, 'I'm not good enough,' or 'I always mess things up.'" The third stone joins the others on the log. Alex looks at the collection of stones. "So instead of throwing them into our mind pond, we just notice them?" Exactly, Alex, Silver Moon says warmly. The Buddha taught something called mindful awareness. Instead of automatically throwing every worried or angry or sad thought into our inner pond, we can first notice the thought, like picking up the stone and looking at it. Lily demonstrates by picking up the worry stone. So when I have a worried thought about tomorrow's spelling test, instead of immediately getting all anxious and stirring up my mind, I can notice, oh, here's a worry thought about the spelling test. What happens then? Maya asks, fascinated. Silver Moon smiles. Then you have a choice. You can throw the stone into your pond and let it disturb your peace, or you can simply acknowledge the thought and set the stone aside. Sam picks up one of the stones and examines it. But what if it's an important worry? What if I really do need to think about something? Excellent question, Sam, Silver Moon says. There's a difference between useful thinking and repetitive worrying. Useful thinking happens when your mind is calm and clear, like when the pond is still. Repetitive worrying is like throwing the same pebble over and over into already disturbed water. To demonstrate, Silver Moon waits until the pond is completely still and then very gently places just the tip of her finger on the water's surface. Tiny, gentle ripples spread out, but the reflection remains mostly clear and visible. This is useful thinking, she explains. When your mind is calm, you can gently consider a problem or situation. The reflection stays mostly clear, so you can see solutions and make good decisions. Then she picks up a handful of pebbles and throws them rapidly into the water one after another. The pond becomes chaotic with overlapping ripples, and the reflection disappears completely. This is repetitive worrying, she says. When we keep throwing the same worried thoughts into our mind over and over, we can't see clearly enough to find real solutions. Alex nods with understanding. So if I'm worried about my new school, I can let my mind be still first, then gently think about it once to make a plan, instead of worrying about it over and over. Perfect, Alex, Silver Moon says. When your mind pond is calm, you might realize you could introduce yourself to one new person or ask the teacher for help if you need it. But when your mind is all stirred up with worry, you can't think of helpful solutions. Lily stands up and walks to the very edge of the pond. Grandmother taught me a special way to practice this. Would you like to try it? The three friends nod eagerly. First, Lily says, sitting cross-legged on the soft sand, we sit comfortably and imagine that our mind is like this peaceful pond. Maya, Sam, and Alex arrange themselves in a circle with Lily, all facing the still water that perfectly mirrors the starry sky. Now, Lily continues in a gentle voice, we close our eyes and just notice what thoughts come up, like noticing what pebbles we're holding in our hands. Silver Moon's voice joins in, soft as a whisper. Don't try to stop the thoughts. Just notice them. Oh, here's a thought about tomorrow. Oh, here's a thought about something that happened yesterday. Oh, here's a thought about whether I'm doing this right. Alex closes his eyes and immediately notices several thoughts arising. I have a thought that I'm hungry. I have a thought wondering if my mom is worried about me. I have a thought about my new school. Perfect, Alex, Silver Moon whispers. Now, instead of following each thought and letting it create ripples in your inner pond, just imagine setting each thought gently aside, like placing stones on the shore. Maya tries this and finds it surprisingly peaceful. Each time a thought comes up, about Sarah, about tomorrow, about whether she's doing the meditation correctly, she imagines herself noticing the thought and gently setting it aside like a stone on the shore. What's happening in your inner pond now? Lily asks softly. Maya feels something beautiful happening inside her chest. As her worried thoughts settle like stones placed safely on the shore, a sense of deep peace and clarity emerges. I can see everything more clearly. I feel calm and spacious inside. This is your true nature, Maya, Silver Moon explains. Beneath all the thoughts and worries and emotions, your mind is naturally as clear and peaceful as this still pond. The Buddha called this Buddha nature, the inherently peaceful awareness that exists within everyone. Alex opens his eyes and looks out at the perfect reflection of stars on the water. So all this time, even when I was carrying those heavy rocks, this peaceful pond was always inside me. Always, Alex, Silver Moon confirms. The rocks made it harder to access, and the worried thoughts stirred up ripples on the surface. But the peaceful pond of your true nature was always there, waiting to be rediscovered. Lily picks up a handful of sand and lets it slowly pour through her fingers. Grandmother taught me that we don't have to create peace. We just have to stop disturbing it. Sam watches the last few ripples fade from the pond's surface. It's like the moon was always shining, even when the ripples made it look broken. The peace was always there, even when my thoughts made it hard to see. Silver Moon reaches into her pouch again and pulls out 4 small, perfectly smooth stones that seem to glow with inner light. These are stillness stones, she says, giving one to each child. Whenever your mind feels disturbed with worry or anger or sadness, hold your stillness stone and remember, you don't have to fight the thoughts or push them away. You can simply stop adding new pebbles to your inner pond. Maya holds her stillness stone and feels its smooth, calming surface. How do we remember to do this when we're upset? Sometimes I get so caught up in my worried thoughts that I forget I have a choice. Practice, Lily says simply. Every day I come here and sit quietly, watching my thoughts like watching pebbles I might throw into the pond. The more I practice noticing my thoughts instead of automatically following them, the easier it becomes. Silver Moon nods. The Buddha taught that meditation is like training a muscle. At first, your mind might feel very busy, like a pond with many ripples. But the more you practice returning to stillness, the more naturally your mind settles into its peaceful state. Alex stands up and stretches, feeling amazed at how calm and clear he feels. I want to try something, he says. I'm going to think about my new school worry on purpose, but this time I'll treat it like a pebble I can choose not to throw. He closes his eyes and brings up his worry about starting at the new school. But instead of immediately feeling anxious, he notices the thought, like holding a pebble. Here's the worry thought about new school, he says out loud. Then he imagines placing the thought pebble gently on the shore. I can think about school in a helpful way later, when my mind is calm. How does that feel different? Sam asks. Alex opens his eyes with a look of wonder. I still know I'm starting at a new school next week, but I don't feel anxious about it. It's like I can hold the information without letting it disturb my peace. Maya tries the same thing with her lingering concerns about Sarah. She notices the worried thought, acknowledges it like a pebble she's holding, then imagines setting it gently aside. It's amazing, she says. I can still care about my friendship with Sarah without letting worry about it make me feel upset. Silver Moon smiles with deep satisfaction. You children have learned one of the most valuable lessons the Buddha ever taught. You've discovered that you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that can observe your thoughts and choose which ones deserve your attention. Lily stands up and bows respectfully to the still pond. Every time I practice this, I feel more connected to the peace that's always inside me. As the first hints of dawn begin to lighten the eastern sky, Silver Moon gathers her lantern and prepares to leave. Remember, dear ones, your inner pond of peace is always available to you. In the busiest classroom, during the most stressful day, in the middle of any difficulty, you can always return to the stillness within. The four friends stand together at the pond's edge, each carrying their growing collection of wisdom stones, butterfly stones, cloud stones, transformation stones, and now stillness stones. Thank you, Silver Moon and Lily, Maya says warmly. I feel like I've discovered a treasure that was inside me all along. Thank you for showing us that we don't have to be victims of our own thoughts, Sam adds. Alex adjusts his weightless backpack and grins. I feel like I have superpowers now, the power to choose which thoughts get to disturb my peace. As Silver Moon and Lily wave goodbye and disappear into the reeds, the three friends continue along the path that winds around the lake's edge. The water remains perfectly still, reflecting the gradually lightening sky like a mirror of infinite peace. I keep thinking about what Silver Moon said, Maya reflects as they walk, that we don't have to create peace, we just have to stop disturbing it. Sam nods, looking back at the peaceful pond one more time. It makes me feel so much more relaxed about everything. Like no matter what happens, I can always find that quiet place inside. Alex practically skips as he walks, his light backpack bouncing all curious about what wisdom the Buddha had shared about this very problem. Long ago, Bodhi begins, there was a wealthy man who had everything he could ever want: a beautiful house, chests full of gold, the finest clothes, and the most delicious food. But just like you, Ben, the more he had, the more miserable he became. Ben leans forward with interest. Why was he miserable if he had everything? Because, Bodhi explains gently, he spent all his time and energy trying to hold on to what he had. He couldn't enjoy his beautiful house because he was always worried someone might damage it. He couldn't enjoy his gold because he was constantly counting it and hiding it. He couldn't enjoy his fine food because he was afraid of running out. Alex nods with recognition. It sounds like my old backpack full of rocks. The more pain I tried to hold on to, the heavier and more miserable I became. Exactly, Alex, Bodhi says warmly. The Buddha taught that clinging tightly to things, even good things, creates suffering. But this wealthy man was fortunate enough to meet the Buddha, who showed him something that changed his entire life. Sam looks around at the abundant orchard. What did the Buddha show him? Bodhi stands up and walks over to one of the apple trees. He reaches up and picks a particularly beautiful, rosy apple, then walks back to the group. The Buddha picked up an apple just like this one, and he said to the wealthy man, "What is this apple for?" Ben wrinkles his brow, thinking, "For eating?" That's what the wealthy man said too, Bodhi continues. But then the Buddha asked, "What happens to the apple's purpose if you put it in a chest and guard it, never letting anyone eat it?" Maya's eyes light up with understanding. The apple can't fulfill its purpose. If no one eats it, it just rots away. Precisely, Maya, Bodhi says, his eyes twinkling. And then the Buddha said something that transformed the wealthy man's understanding completely. Everything in life, including the gifts we've been given, is meant to be shared and enjoyed, not hoarded and protected. Bodhi takes a bite of the apple he's holding, and his face lights up with pure joy. This apple is perfect, sweet and crisp and full of sunshine. And you know what makes it even more delicious? What? Ben asks, despite himself becoming curious. Bodhi breaks the apple into pieces and offers one to each child. Sharing it. The Buddha discovered that joy multiplies when it's shared, but it diminishes when it's hoarded. Ben hesitantly takes a piece of the apple and bites into it. His eyes widen with surprise and delight. "Oh, this is incredible. I had no idea the fruit was this good." "How does it feel to finally taste the fruit you worked so hard to grow?" Bodhi asks gently. Ben pauses, considering. "It feels wonderful, but also kind of sad. I've been sitting here for hours, surrounded by all this delicious food, making myself miserable by not eating any of it." Sam takes a bite of his apple piece and sighs with contentment. The apple tastes even better because we're all enjoying it together. Bodhi nods approvingly. The Buddha taught that this is true about everything in life, not just apples. Love shared grows stronger. Knowledge shared becomes wisdom. Even happiness shared multiplies rather than diminishes. Just then, they hear voices approaching through the orchard. A family with several young children comes walking down the path. They look tired and hungry, as if they've been traveling for a long time. Ben's immediate instinct is to protectively move closer to his baskets, but then he notices something. The family is looking at the fruit trees with such longing, and the youngest child, a little girl about 5 years old, is clearly very hungry. "Excuse me," the father says politely to Bodhi. "We've been walking all night, and we were wondering if there might be any fallen fruit we could gather for our children. We can pay you what little we have." Bodhi smiles warmly. "This orchard belongs to all of us, friend. Please take what you need." But Ben surprises everyone, including himself. He stands up and walks over to one of his carefully guarded baskets. "Wait," he says, his voice shaking slightly. I have plenty of fruit. Would you like some of mine?" The little girl's eyes light up like stars, and Ben finds himself smiling as he hands her the most beautiful peach from his collection. When she bites into it and juice runs down her chin as she grins with pure delight, something magical happens in Ben's heart. "How does that feel, Ben?" Bodhi asks softly. Ben stares in wonder at the joy on the little girl's face. "It feels amazing, better than I've felt all week. Why does giving away my fruit feel better than keeping it?" Bodhi's smile is radiant. "You've just discovered what the Buddha called the paradox of generosity. He taught that when we give freely, we don't become poorer. We become richer in the ways that truly matter." Ben starts pulling fruit from his baskets and giving it to the family. With each apple, pear, and peach he shares, his own face grows brighter and his heart feels lighter. The family's gratitude and joy seem to fill him with more happiness than he's ever experienced. "I don't understand," Ben says as he watches the children enjoying the fruit. "I have less fruit now, but I feel like I have more of something. What is it?" Maya, who has been watching Ben's transformation with wonder, says, "I think you have more joy and more connection and more aliveness." Alex nods enthusiastically. "It's like when I transformed my rocks of pain into stones of wisdom. The more I was willing to let go, the lighter and happier I became." Sam adds, "And it reminds me of the butterflies. When I stopped trying to catch and keep them for myself, I got to enjoy so much more beauty." Bodhi applauds softly. "You children understand perfectly. The Buddha taught that there are two kinds of happiness: the happiness that comes from getting what we want, and the happiness that comes from giving what we have. The first kind is temporary and always leaves us wanting more. But the second kind grows stronger the more we practice it." After the grateful family continues on their journey, Ben looks at his now half-empty baskets with amazement. "I thought I'd feel upset about having less fruit," he says, "but I feel better than I have in weeks. Why is that?" Bodhi settles back down in the grass, and a small rabbit hops over to sit peacefully near him. "The Buddha explained it this way, Ben. When we hold on to things tightly, we have to use all our energy to grip and guard and worry. But when we give freely, we free up all that energy to actually enjoy our lives." Ben picks up an apple from his basket and really looks at it for the first time, noticing its beautiful color, its perfect shape, the way the morning light makes it glow. "I was so busy counting and protecting my fruit that I never actually appreciated how beautiful it is. And there's something even more wonderful about giving," Bodhi continues. "When we give from a place of abundance and joy, not from obligation or fear, we discover that the universe is naturally generous too." As if to demonstrate Bodhi's words, a gentle breeze shakes the apple tree above them, and several perfectly ripe apples fall softly to the grass around them. More fruit than Ben had given away. Alex's eyes widen. "It's like the orchard wants to give too." Bodhi laughs warmly. "The whole universe operates on principles of generosity and flow, Alex. Trees give fruit, flowers give nectar to bees, rain gives life to plants, the sun gives light and warmth. When we align ourselves with this natural generosity, we become part of the flow of abundance rather than trying to dam it up." Ben picks up one of the freshly fallen apples and immediately bites into it, savoring the flavor instead of just adding it to his hoard. So the secret isn't to have more fruit, it's to enjoy and share the fruit I have? Beautiful understanding, Ben, Bodhi says with approval. The Buddha taught that contentment comes not from having everything we want, but from appreciating and sharing what we already have. Maya thinks about her friendship with Sarah and realizes something important. I think I've been like Ben with my friendship. I was so worried about keeping Sarah's friendship that I wasn't actually enjoying it or being a good friend to her. Sam nods in recognition. And I was like that with beautiful moments, trying so hard to capture and keep them that I wasn't fully present for them. Ben sits quietly for a moment, then starts gathering apples, pears, and peaches into a smaller basket. I want to take some fruit to share with other people I meet today, he announces. But this time, I'm carrying it because I want to give it away, not because I want to keep it. Bodhi reaches into his pocket and pulls out 4 small wooden tokens, each carved with the image of a tree bearing fruit. These are generosity tokens, he explains, giving one to each child. Whenever you find yourself gripping too tightly to something, whether it's possessions, relationships, or even feelings, hold your token and remember, joy shared multiplies, but joy hoarded disappears. Ben holds his token and feels its smooth warmth. What if I start hoarding again? What if I forget this lesson? Bodhi's eyes twinkle with gentle humor. Then you'll start feeling miserable again, just like you felt this morning. And that feeling will remind you that you have a choice, to grip tightly and suffer, or to give freely and flourish. Alex adjusts his weightless backpack, now understanding even more deeply why it feels so light. All the lessons we've learned tonight are connected, aren't they? Letting thoughts flow like water, appreciating beauty without grasping, transforming pain into wisdom, finding stillness within. They're all about the same thing. What's that, Alex? Bodhi asks, though his smile suggests he already knows the answer. Learning to let go, Maya says with wonder. All of our suffering comes from holding too tightly to things, and all of our joy comes from learning to let things flow naturally. Sam picks up Ben's smaller basket of fruit and helps him carry it. And the amazing thing is, when we let go of trying to control everything, we actually get more of what we really want, like peace and friendship and happiness. Ben looks back at his remaining baskets of fruit with a completely different feeling. I think I'll leave these here for other travelers who might be hungry. The fruit belongs to everyone, not just to me. As the 4 friends prepare to continue their journey, carrying Ben's sharing basket between them, Bodhi calls out one final piece of wisdom. Remember, dear ones, the Buddha taught that we come into this world with nothing, and we leave with nothing. But in between, we have countless opportunities to give and share and love. The more freely we give, the richer our lives become. Ben walks with a completely different energy now. Instead of the hunched, protective posture he had when guarding his fruit, he walks tall and free, excited about the joy he'll be able to share with others. I can't believe how different I feel, Ben marvels as they walk through the orchard toward a path that leads into rolling green hills. A few hours ago, I had more fruit but felt terrible. Now I have less fruit but feel amazing. Maya smiles, thinking of all the lessons they've learned together. It's like all the wise teachers have been trying to tell us the same thing in different ways. That real happiness doesn't come from getting and keeping, but from appreciating and sharing. Alex bounces his weightless backpack gently. And the more we practice letting go, the lighter and freer we become. Sam looks ahead to where the path winds through the hills toward what looks like a lighthouse tower in the distance. I wonder what other wisdom we'll discover before our journey ends. As they walk together toward the lighthouse, carrying fruit to share and hearts full of newly discovered joy, each child now carries not only their collection of wisdom stones and tokens, but also a deep understanding that true abundance comes not from having more, but from giving freely from whatever they already possess. The morning sun climbs higher, warming their faces and lighting their way toward whatever beautiful lesson awaits them at the lighthouse on the hill, where they will learn about staying calm and helpful even when the storms of life rage all around them. Story 7. The Lighthouse Keeper, Learning to be a Light in Dark Times. The morning sun climbs higher as Maya, Sam, Alex, and Ben walk together along the winding path that leads up through rolling green hills. Between them, they carry the basket of fruit that Ben chose. Maya asks, though she already suspects the answer. I stayed in my lighthouse keeper's calm, Captain Marina says with quiet pride. I made sure our beacon was burning as brightly as possible, and I radioed clear, steady instructions to help guide them away from the rocks. By staying peaceful myself, I was able to be truly helpful to people who were in real danger. Rosa adds softly, and because grandmother stayed calm that night, 17 people made it home safely to their families. Ben stares at Captain Marina with new respect. So staying calm during difficult times isn't just about feeling better, it's about being able to help others? Exactly, Ben, Captain Marina confirms. The Buddha taught that when we cultivate inner peace, we become refuge for others. Our calmness becomes a gift we can offer to anyone who is struggling with their own inner storms. Alex thinks about his transformed backpack and his new understanding of letting go. It's like all the lessons we've learned tonight, isn't it? When we let go of our own anxiety and fear, we have more energy to help other people. Sam nods enthusiastically. And when we're not caught up in our own worried thoughts, we can see clearly enough to actually be useful when someone needs help. Rosa walks over to a small cabinet and pulls out 4 small objects that gleam in the lamplight. These are compass stones, she explains, handing one to each child. A compass always points toward true north, no matter how stormy the weather gets. These stones will remind you that you can always find your inner north, your center of peace and calm, even when everything around you feels chaotic. Ben holds his compass stone and feels its steady weight. But what if I forget? What if I'm in the middle of a difficult situation and I get swept up in the drama and fear? Captain Marina smiles with deep understanding. Then you'll notice that you've lost your center, and you can choose to return to it. The Buddha taught that awareness is the first step to freedom, Ben. When you realize you've been caught up in inner storms, you can always ask yourself, how can I be a lighthouse in this situation instead of a ship being tossed by the waves? Maya thinks about her ongoing situation with her friend Sarah. So when Sarah and I have a disagreement, instead of getting upset and making the situation more stormy, I could try to stay calm and be helpful. Beautiful example, Maya, Rosa says. When one person in a conflict remains genuinely peaceful, it creates space for understanding and resolution. But if both people get caught up in emotional storms, the situation just gets more and more turbulent. The storm outside begins to show signs of lessening. The thunder is less frequent, the wind less fierce, and occasional breaks appear in the dark clouds, letting through glimpses of blue sky. Look, Sam says, pointing out the window. The storm is passing, just like Rosa said it would. Captain Marina nods. All storms pass, Sam. The outer storms of weather and the inner storms of emotion. But here's what's remarkable. This lighthouse has stood here through thousands of storms over the past 100 years, and it will stand through thousands more. Its job isn't to fight the storms or hide from them, but simply to keep shining its light. Alex stands up and looks out at the clearing skies with wonder. I feel like I understand something important. We can't stop difficult things from happening in life, but we can choose to be like lighthouses, steady and helpful instead of panicked and reactive. Ben practices this new way of thinking. So when my mom is stressed about work, instead of getting anxious too, I could try to stay calm and maybe even help her feel better? Perfect, Ben, Captain Marina says with approval. And when your friends are worried about tests or arguing with each other, you can choose to be the peaceful presence that helps everyone settle down. Rosa begins packing a small bag with supplies. "The storm has passed enough for safe travel," she announces. "Would you like me to walk with you to the next part of your journey?" As the children prepare to leave the lighthouse, Captain Marina pulls out a large, leather-bound book. "Before you go, I want to show you something special. This is the lighthouse logbook, where I've recorded every storm we've weathered over the years." She opens the book to reveal page after page of entries. Storm of March 15th, winds 60 mph, passed by dawn. Storm of June 3rd, lightning and hail, cleared by midnight. Storm of October 22nd, the fiercest winds I've ever seen, but lighthouse stood firm. "Every single storm is recorded here," Captain Marina says, "and every single one passed. Not one storm lasted forever. This is what I want you to remember, dear ones. No matter how intense your inner or outer storms become, they are all temporary. But your ability to be a steady light for others that can last your whole lifetime." Ben looks at the logbook with awe. "So when I'm going through a hard time, I can remember that it's just one storm that will pass, and I can still choose to be helpful to others even while it's happening." "Beautifully said, Ben," Captain Marina confirms. "The Buddha taught that our difficulties are not obstacles to being compassionate. They're opportunities to practice compassion more deeply." As they gather their things and prepare to leave, Rosa leads them up the spiral staircase to see the lighthouse beacon up close. At the top of the tower, the powerful light rotates slowly, sending its beam out across the now clearing landscape. "This light burns every single night," Rosa explains. "Whether there are storms or stars, ships in distress or calm seas. It doesn't judge the weather or decide when to shine. It simply does its job consistently, reliably, peacefully." Maya looks out at the view from the top of the lighthouse. She can see the path they've traveled, the river where she first learned to let go, the butterfly garden where Sam discovered impermanence, the hilltop where they learned about thoughts as clouds, the village where Alex transformed his rocks, the orchard where Ben learned about generosity, and the peaceful pond where they all found their inner stillness. "Look how far we've come," Maya says to her friends. "And look how much we've learned about letting go and finding peace." Sam nods, feeling amazed at their journey. "Every person we've met has taught us something different, but it's all connected. River taught us about flowing. Luna taught us about impermanence. Mountain taught us about watching our thoughts. Brother Chen taught us about transforming pain. Silver Moon taught us about inner stillness. Bodhi taught us about generosity. And now Captain Marina and Rosa are teaching us about being steady lights for others." Alex adjusts his weightless backpack one more time. "And the most amazing thing is, the more we let go, the more we're able to help other people let go too." Ben looks down at the compass stone in his hand. "I want to practice being a lighthouse for other people. When my friends are upset or my family is stressed, I want to be the calm person who helps everyone feel safer." As they descend the spiral staircase and prepare to leave the lighthouse, Captain Marina gives each child a small lantern. "These are lighthouse lanterns," she explains. "They'll remind you that wherever you go, you carry the ability to be a source of light and peace for others." Rosa walks with them down the stone steps toward a path that leads through a meadow dotted with wildflowers. The storm has completely passed now, leaving the air fresh and clean, with raindrops sparkling like jewels on every blade of grass. "Thank you, Captain Marina and Rosa," Maya says, looking back at the lighthouse one more time. I feel like I understand something really important about staying calm when life gets difficult. Remember? Captain Marina calls after them. Storms always pass, but lighthouses always shine. Choose to be a lighthouse. As the 5 young friends walk together through the sun-dappled meadow, Rosa has joined them for the next part of their journey. Each carries their growing collection of wisdom tools and a deepening understanding of what it means to let go of suffering. I keep thinking about what Captain Marina said, Ben reflects as they walk, that we can't control outer weather, but we can always choose our inner weather. Alex nods, and that when we stay calm during difficult times, we're not just helping ourselves, we're helping everyone around us. Sam looks ahead to where the path leads toward what appears to be a peaceful village nestled in a valley between rolling hills. I wonder what other wisdom we'll discover before our journey ends. Rosa smiles mysteriously. Oh, there are still beautiful lessons ahead. Have you ever thought about what happens to things that are no longer needed? There's great wisdom in learning to let go with grace when our time with something or someone comes to an end. Maya feels a flutter of curiosity mixed with a touch of sadness. She senses that their magical night of learning is approaching its completion, but she also feels excited to discover whatever final wisdom awaits them in the village ahead. The afternoon sun warms their faces as they walk toward their next lesson, each now carrying not only their stones and tokens, but also the profound understanding that they can choose to be sources of peace and light for others, no matter what storms may rage in the world around them. Story 8. The Sandcastle Builder. Learning that nothing lasts forever, and that's okay. The warm afternoon sun shines down on Maya, Sam, Alex, Ben, and Rosa as they walk together through the meadow toward the village nestled in the valley below. The grass is still dotted with raindrops from the morning storm, creating tiny prisms that scatter rainbow light with each step. The air smells fresh and clean, filled with the sweet scent of wildflowers and the promise of new discoveries. As they crest a small hill, they can see that the village is actually built along the shore of a vast, sparkling ocean. The sight takes their breath away, endless blue water stretching to the horizon, gentle waves lapping against a golden sandy beach, and seabirds dancing on the ocean breeze. I've never seen the ocean before, Maya says in wonder, quickening her pace toward the shore. It's magnificent, Sam agrees, already imagining all the beauty and life that the vast water must contain. But as they approach the beach, they notice someone sitting alone on the sand near the water's edge. It's a boy about their age with curly dark hair, and he's surrounded by the most elaborate sand castles any of them have ever seen. There are towers and bridges, moats and courtyards, all crafted with incredible detail and artistry. However, despite being surrounded by such amazing creations, the boy looks deeply sad. He sits with his shoulders hunched, staring out at the waves with tears glistening in his eyes. The boy's name is Kai, and as the 5 friends approach, they can see that he's been working on these sand castles for what must have been hours. Some are simple single towers, others are complex fortresses with multiple levels and intricate decorations made from shells and seaweed. "Hi," Rosa says gently, her natural lighthouse keeper's instinct drawing her towards someone who seems to be in distress. "I'm Rosa, and these are my friends. Your sandcastles are absolutely incredible." Kai looks up with red-rimmed eyes. "Thanks," he says quietly. "I'm Kai. I've been working on them since early this morning." Alex sets down the basket of fruit they've been carrying and sits on the sand near Kai. They're amazing works of art. You must be really talented. But you look sad. What's wrong? Kai's lower lip trembles slightly as he points toward the water. The tide is coming in, he says, his voice thick with emotion. In a few hours, all of my castles will be washed away. All this work, all this beauty, it will all just disappear like it never existed. Maya looks from the elaborate sand castles to the slowly advancing waves and feels her heart ache for Kai. She can see how much love and care he put into each creation. How long did it take you to build all of these? Sam asks, genuinely impressed by the skill and detail involved. About 6 hours, Kai says, wiping his eyes. I got up before dawn and started with that one over there. Then I built this tower, then this bridge, then that whole fortress. Each one was going to be perfect and beautiful forever. Ben, who has learned so much about letting go throughout their journey, sits down beside Kai with understanding. But you knew the tide would come in eventually, right? Kai nods miserably. That's what makes it so terrible. I knew they wouldn't last, but I built them anyway, and now I can't bear to watch them get destroyed. It feels like everything beautiful just gets taken away in the end. Just then, they hear a warm, gentle voice from behind them. Ah, I see you've met our master sand castle builder. They turn to see an elderly man walking toward them from the direction of the village. He has skin weathered by years of sun and salt air, eyes the color of the deep ocean, and a serene smile that reminds them of all the wise teachers they've encountered on their journey. He carries a simple wooden staff topped with a piece of smooth sea glass and moves with the patient rhythm of someone who has spent many years by the sea. Hello, young friends, the man says as he approaches. I am Ocean, keeper of this shore and student of the tides. I've been watching Kai build his beautiful castles all day. Kai looks up at Ocean with fresh tears. They're all going to be destroyed, he says. What's the point of creating something beautiful if it's just going to be washed away? Ocean sits down on the sand in the middle of the group, his presence immediately bringing a sense of calm and ancient wisdom. Kai, my dear boy, you've stumbled upon one of the most important questions the Buddha ever explored. He spent many years contemplating the very same thing you're feeling right now. Rosa leans forward with interest. What did the Buddha discover about things that don't last forever? Ocean picks up a handful of sand and lets it slowly trickle through his fingers. The Buddha made a remarkable discovery. He found that our suffering doesn't come from the fact that things end. It comes from wishing that things wouldn't end. Maya thinks about this carefully. So you're saying Kai isn't sad because the castles are being washed away, but because he wishes they could stay forever? Precisely, Maya, Ocean says with approval. The Buddha taught that everything in this world, every flower, every sunset, every friendship, every life, has a beginning, a middle, and an end. This isn't a flaw in the universe. It's actually what makes things precious. Kai looks confused. How can things ending make them more precious? That doesn't make sense. Ocean stands up and walks over to Kai's most elaborate castle, a magnificent creation with multiple towers, a working drawbridge, and tiny windows decorated with perfectly placed shells. Kai, would you say this castle is beautiful? Yes, Kai says, his voice barely a whisper. It's the most beautiful one I've ever built. And why is it beautiful, Ocean? The way the whole thing looks like a real castle where people might live happily ever after. Ocean nods thoughtfully. Now imagine that this castle was made of stone instead of sand. Imagine it would last for 1,000 years, unchanging and permanent. How would that change how you feel about it right now, in this moment? Kai thinks about this question for a long time, looking at his sand castle with new eyes. I guess if I knew it would last forever, this moment wouldn't feel as special. I wouldn't need to really look at it and appreciate it right now, because I could always appreciate it later. Beautiful insight, Kai, Ocean says warmly. The Buddha discovered that impermanence, the fact that things don't last forever, is actually what gives each moment its preciousness. If sunsets lasted forever, would we stop what we're doing to watch them? If flowers never faded, would we pause to smell their fragrance? Sam looks out at the ocean with wonder. So the waves aren't destroying Kai's castles, they're completing them. Ocean's eyes sparkle with delight. What a profound way to put it, Sam. Yes, the incoming tide isn't the enemy of the sand castle. It's part of the castle's complete story. Alex adjusts his weightless backpack and thinks about his own journey. It's like my rocks of pain. When I was trying to hold on to them forever, they made me miserable. But when I let them transform and then let them go, they became part of a beautiful story of growth. Ben nods enthusiastically. And it's like the fruit in the orchard. When I was trying to keep it forever, I couldn't enjoy it. But when I let it fulfill its purpose by being shared and eaten, it became part of something meaningful. Ocean walks slowly along the line of sand castles, pausing to admire each one. The Buddha taught that there are 3 marks of existence that everything shares. The first is impermanence. Everything changes and eventually ends. The second is interdependence. Everything is connected to everything else. And the third is that when we fight against these first 2 truths, we create suffering for ourselves. Rosa, drawing on her lighthouse wisdom, adds, "So the suffering comes from wanting things to be different from how they naturally are?" Exactly, Rosa, Ocean confirms. Kai's castles are perfect just as they are. Beautiful creations that will have their moment of glory and then gracefully return to being part of the endless beach. The problem isn't with the castles or the tides. It's with expecting them to be something they were never meant to be. Kai looks at his castles with tears still in his eyes, but now there's something different in his expression. A mixture of sadness and understanding. But it still makes me sad to think of them washing away. Does that mean I'm doing something wrong? Ocean sits back down next to Kai and puts a gentle hand on his shoulder. Not at all, dear boy. Feeling sad when beautiful things end is completely natural. The Buddha felt sadness too when he lost people he loved, or when beautiful moments came to an end. The key is learning the difference between natural sadness and unnecessary suffering. Maya tilts her head curiously. What's the difference? Natural sadness, Ocean explains, is like rain. It comes, it waters the garden of your heart, and then it passes. It's a healthy response to loss that honors what was beautiful. But unnecessary suffering is like trying to build a dam to stop the rain forever. It just creates more problems. Ocean picks up a small piece of driftwood from the beach. This piece of wood was once part of a living tree. The tree's life ended, but its wood became part of the ocean story, tumbling in the waves until it was shaped into this smooth, beautiful form. Now it rests on this beach, where it might become part of someone's fire tonight, providing warmth and light. Ben examines the driftwood with fascination. So everything that ends becomes part of something new? In the Buddhist understanding, yes, Ocean says. Nothing is ever truly lost. It just transforms into the next part of an endless cycle of becoming. Kai stands up and walks slowly along his row of sandcastles, looking at each one as if seeing it for the first time. "I think I understand something," he says quietly. "I was so focused on trying to make them permanent that I wasn't really enjoying them while they exist." "And how do they look to you now?" Ocean asks. Kai pauses at his favorite castle and really studies it. The way the afternoon light plays across its surfaces, the way the shells he chose create perfect patterns, the way the whole structure rises from the beach like something from a fairy tale. They're more beautiful than I thought. When I was worried about losing them, I couldn't really see them clearly. Sam walks over and kneels beside one of the smaller castles. "Can I help you appreciate them before the tide comes? I promise I won't touch them. I just want to look closely." Alex and Maya join them, and soon all 5 friends are moving slowly from castle to castle, taking time to really notice and appreciate each unique creation. They point out details to each other. A particularly clever architectural feature here, a beautiful arrangement of shells there, the way one castle seems to catch and hold the ocean breeze. "This is amazing," Maya says, crouched next to a castle with intricate towers. "Look how you made these spiral staircases with just sand and water. It's like magic." For the first time since they arrived, Kai smiles. "You know what? Building them was actually the most fun part. When I was focused on creating each wall and tower, I felt completely happy and peaceful. It was only when I started thinking about them lasting forever that I became miserable." Ocean nods with deep satisfaction. The Buddha called this being present. When we're fully engaged in the process of creating or experiencing something, without worrying about holding on to it forever, we discover a kind of joy that nothing can take away. Rosa looks out at the waves, which have crept noticeably closer to the castles during their conversation. "Kai, what if we all sat here together and watched what happens when the tide reaches your castles? Instead of turning away from it, what if we stayed present for that part of their story too?" Kai hesitates, fear flickering across his face. "I don't know if I can handle watching them get destroyed." Ben, remembering his own journey from hoarding to sharing, says gently, "What if they're not getting destroyed? What if they're just returning home to the ocean?" Alex adds, "Like how my rocks of pain weren't destroyed when they transformed. They just became something new and different." Ocean reaches into a small pouch he carries and pulls out 5 smooth pieces of sea glass, each one a different beautiful color, frosted by years of ocean waves. "These are letting go stones," he explains, giving one to each child. "Each piece of glass was once part of something else, a bottle, a window, a vase. When those things broke and seemed to be destroyed, the pieces tumbled in the ocean for years until they became these beautiful gems." Kai holds his sea glass up to the light and marvels at how the sun shines through it, creating patterns of blue and green on the sand. "So when things end, they can become something even more beautiful?" "Sometimes, yes," Ocean says. "But even when they don't, even when something simply ends and returns to the elements it came from, that ending is still part of the natural beauty of existence." The waves are now lapping at the edges of the outer castles. But instead of panicking, Kai sits down in the sand and watches with a mixture of sadness and curiosity. His friends settle around him in a supportive circle. "It's starting," Kai whispers as the first small tower begins to soften and reshape under the gentle touch of the waves. But something unexpected happens. Instead of violent destruction, the process is surprisingly gentle and beautiful. The waves don't crash into the castles. They simply embrace them, softly dissolving the sharp edges and gradually returning the sand to the sea. "Oh," Maya says in wonder. "It's not violent at all. It's like the ocean is giving the castles a gentle hug." Sam watches in fascination as one castle slowly transforms from a sharp-edged fortress into a smooth, curved mound, then into rippled sand patterns, then into part of the beach itself. It's like watching them dance back into being part of the whole shore. Alex notices how Kai's face is changing as he watches. The anguish is gradually being replaced by something like awe. "How do you feel, Kai?" Kai wipes away a tear, but it's different from his earlier tears of distress. "I feel grateful and kind of amazed. I spent so much energy being afraid of this moment, but it's actually really beautiful." Ben points to where one castle stood just minutes ago. "And look, the sand from your castle is already becoming part of new patterns in the beach. It's not gone. It's just becoming something new." Rosa, drawing on her lighthouse wisdom about being present during storms, adds, "And think about all the joy you had building them, and all the joy we just had appreciating them together. That joy doesn't get washed away. It becomes part of who we are." Ocean stands and faces the ocean, his arms spread wide in a gesture of gratitude and acceptance. The Buddha taught that this is how we can live our whole lives, fully engaged in creating and loving and building, while simultaneously accepting that everything we create and love will eventually return to the source from which it came. As the last castle gently dissolves into the advancing tide, Kai stands up too and brushes the sand off his hands. "I want to try something," he announces. "I want to build one more castle, but this time I'm going to build it knowing it will wash away. I want to see if I can create something beautiful and let it go at the same time." His friends watch in amazement as Kai begins building a new castle right at the water's edge, where the waves are actively lapping. He works quickly and joyfully, not trying to make it perfect or permanent, just enjoying the process of creation. "This is incredible," Kai says as he works, occasionally laughing when a wave dissolves part of what he's building before he can finish it. "I'm not worried about it lasting. I'm just having fun making it." Maya joins him, helping to build a small tower. It's like playing instead of working. When you know it doesn't have to be permanent, you can just enjoy the creating. Soon, all 5 friends are building together in the advancing waves, creating temporary sculptures that exist for just moments before being lovingly reclaimed by the sea. They laugh and splash and create with complete freedom, knowing that each creation is perfect exactly as long as it lasts. "I think I understand what the Buddha meant now," Kai says as he watches a particularly beautiful tower melt away under a gentle wave. The point isn't to make things last forever. It's to put love and care into creating them, and then to let them go with gratitude. Ocean watches the children playing in the waves with deep joy. your journey full circle by sharing one final lesson together under the infinite sky. The children look at each other with wonder and gratitude. To see all their teachers gathered together feels like a magical reunion, as if all the separate lessons they've learned are about to weave together into something even more beautiful. "Please join us," says Mountain, patting the soft grass beside him. "Tonight we want to share with you the Buddha's teaching about the vastness that lives within each of us." The 6 friends settle onto the grass among their teachers, all lying on their backs and looking up at the most spectacular night sky any of them have ever seen. Away from the lights of villages and cities, the stars shine with incredible brightness, and the Milky Way stretches across the heavens like a river of light. "Oh my," whispers Maya, her voice full of awe. "There are so many stars. I never knew there were this many in the whole universe." "And each one," says Ocean in his deep, peaceful voice, "is actually a sun, many of them with planets of their own orbiting around them. What you're seeing is just a tiny portion of an infinite universe filled with countless worlds and beings." Kai, still carrying his special shell from the beach, holds it up toward the stars. "It makes me feel so small, like I'm just a tiny grain of sand on an endless beach." Brother Chen chuckles softly. "That's exactly how the Buddha felt when he first contemplated the vastness of existence, Kai. But then he made a remarkable discovery that changed everything." Sam turns his head toward Brother Chen with curiosity. "What did he discover?" "He realized," Brother Chen continues, "that feeling small in an infinite universe wasn't something to be afraid of. It was something to be amazed by. Because if you are part of an infinite universe, then what does that make you?" Alex thinks about this carefully. "If I'm part of something infinite, then I must be infinite too, in some way." Silver Moon's voice drifts across the clearing like a gentle breeze. "Beautiful understanding, Alex. The Buddha taught that the same consciousness that looks out through your eyes and experiences the world through your heart is the same consciousness that lives in every being throughout the entire universe." Rosa, drawing on her lighthouse wisdom, adds thoughtfully, "So when I feel compassion for someone else, it's actually the universe feeling compassion for itself through me." "Precisely, Rosa," says Bodhi, his voice warm with approval. "When you learned to give freely in the orchard, you weren't just Ben being generous. You were the universe expressing its natural abundance through the form of Ben." Ben sits up slightly and looks around at all his friends and teachers. "So, when we were all helping Kai feel better about his sand castles, it was like the universe taking care of itself?" Luna's laugh sounds like silver bells in the night air. "Yes, Ben. Every act of kindness, every moment of compassion, every time you choose peace over conflict, it's the universe loving itself through you." Maya feels something profound shifting in her understanding. "So I'm not separate from the stars and the trees and the ocean and all of you. We're all part of one big... what would you call it?" "The Buddha called it many things," says Mountain. "Sometimes he called it Buddha nature, the fundamental awareness that exists in all beings. Sometimes he called it interdependence, the way everything is connected to everything else. But perhaps the most beautiful name he gave it was simply the One." Ocean's voice carries the rhythm of waves. "Think about it this way, children. A wave on the ocean might feel separate and individual. It has its own shape, its own movement, its own brief moment of existence. But what is a wave really made of?" "Water," Kai says immediately, understanding beginning to dawn in his voice. A wave is just ocean water temporarily taking the shape of a wave. Exactly, Ocean says with delight. And when the wave crashes on the shore and seems to disappear, what happens to the water? The boat will take you wherever you need to go, dear one. For some, it may drift across peaceful waters toward the shore of sleep. For others, it may sail through dreams filled with all the beauty you've discovered tonight. Trust the boat to know exactly where you belong. One by one, the friends step carefully into the magical vessel. The moment their feet touch the soft cushions, they feel a profound sense of safety and peace wash over them. The boat rocks gently, like being cradled in loving arms, and automatically begins to drift away from the dock without anyone needing to paddle or steer. Maya settles against the soft cushions and looks up at the star-filled sky. I keep thinking about River and how he taught me to let my thoughts flow like water. Now I feel like I'm actually floating on that peaceful river. The boat drifts silently across the glassy surface, leaving barely a ripple behind. The only sounds are the soft whisper of water against the boat's sides and the gentle night songs of crickets and frogs along the distant shores. Sam closes his eyes and feels the gentle rocking motion. And I keep seeing Luna's butterflies, but now I understand that we're all like butterflies, beautiful temporary forms that the universe takes as it explores itself. Alex shifts comfortably against his friend's shoulder, his magical backpack serving as the perfect pillow. I'm so grateful to Brother Chen for showing me how to transform my rocks of pain into stones of wisdom. Now, when I remember difficult things from my past, they feel like treasures instead of burdens. The boat seems to know exactly where to go, guided by some invisible current toward the most peaceful parts of the lake. Soft mists rise from the warm water, creating dreamy shapes that look sometimes like dancing figures, sometimes like floating flowers, sometimes like gentle spirits welcoming them home. Ben reaches into the water and lets it flow through his fingers, just as Maya had learned to do at the river. Bodhi taught me that giving feels better than keeping, and now I understand why. When you know you're part of everything, sharing becomes as natural as breathing. Rosa, drawing on her lighthouse wisdom, watches the lanterns on their boat cast gentle light across the water. I want to remember Captain Marina and how she taught us to be lights for others during stormy times. Even now, as we're drifting towards sleep, we can carry that light with us. Kai holds his special shell to his ear one more time, listening to the eternal sound of the ocean. Ocean helped me understand that beautiful things don't become less beautiful when they end. They become part of an even bigger beauty. My sand castles are still part of me, even though they've returned to the sea. Dream, who has been silently guiding their boat through the peaceful waters, speaks in a voice that seems to come from the mists themselves. You have all learned the deepest secret of peaceful sleep. When you release the day's worries and attachments, when you let go of trying to control what tomorrow will bring, sleep comes as naturally as a boat drifting on a calm lake. The boat continues its gentle journey, and the friends find their eyelids growing heavy with a drowsiness unlike any they've ever experienced. This isn't the tired feeling that comes from exhaustion. It's the profound relaxation that comes from finally, completely letting go. Maya's voice becomes soft and dreamy. I feel like I'm dissolving into the peaceful lake, but in the most wonderful way. Like I'm becoming part of all this beauty,